Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. We are live for the first time in a couple of weeks. We've had an international break, so if you are in the stream, let yourself be known. We are here as we do every week to look over the next round of championship fixtures, and it's the best time of the season now. 8 games to go, last international break gone. Hell for leather now. 1 game this week, then a 3-game week. Then you get that Easter period, and then those last couple of games where everything is gonna be decided and pretty open now. 2 from 3 up at the top, maybe down as far as 11th could still get playoffs. Hi everybody in the feed, welcome to the stream. And down the bottom there, 3 from 6 for relegation, and we've had that points penalty for Birmingham as well. Loads to talk about, possibly new owners at Bolton coming in as well. Lots of stuff on the channel in the meantime though, so check out those other videos. Specials for Leeds, Sheffield United and Norwich. I did a special look at the top 2, the top 6 and the bottom 3, and incredibly I did my team of the season, and oh my God, yeah, read the comments for that one. Yeah, interesting times on YouTube here. And I make it, these games, there's something on every single one of them, other than Ipswich versus Hull. So let's start at the very top, and I will get your predictions in for each game. So I'll read as many, no problems, Oliver. I'll read as many of the comments as I can. I'm reading them as we go, but try and keep them on the game we're doing, so you don't feel I'm missing you guys out. First game, up at the top there, Norwich in first position, 4 points clear. Off they go to Borough, who are in 5th but slipping. It looks like the most complicated game remaining for Norwich, but Borough, 3 defeats on the bounce, a draw before that, and Borough actually score more points away from home than they do at home. So Norwich, really, it's the final push, isn't it? 78 points. Norwich really need 4 more wins and a couple of draws, I think. Since that marquee win over Leeds, 9 wins in 10 games for Norwich. Be really interested to see what Farke does. He's been very, very loyal, particularly to Godfrey and McLean as well. I thought McLean was coming out after that Swansea game, but he sticks with the winning team. So I think he'll stick with McLean and Godfrey, despite the fact Leitner and Closer are there on the bench. And then he's got an option if things do go wrong. Like I said, lots of pressure on Borough. There'll be pressure on both teams in this one. Both of second and third, both Leeds and Sheffield United play at home, and they play before Norwich do. Norwich have had an answer for everything, but you know, it really gets to squeaky bum time, and you see strange things happen. Norwich have looked so relaxed the whole time, but even the best teams tense up at this time of the season. So it's going to be really, really interesting. Like I say, Oliver says, not sure about McLean, doesn't get involved like Vrancic or Leitner. Interesting. Few predictions coming in as well. Someone worried about Krul there. We know what's going to happen here. Borough are going to try and play it like an away game, considering Norwich will come on and push those fullbacks on and try and play the possession game. It's a difficult one to call, this one. It really, really is. I think Norwich are going to win. I think this doesn't play in Borough's favour. I think Borough are going to concede a lot of possession and a lot of territory. Borough will obviously play for the clean sheet like they always do, but I think that they're going to really, really need a good performance from Randolph and Ayala Flint those guys at the back. I just can't see Norwich not creating a load of chances. We'll see what the context is. John says, Borough's mentality in big games is quite frankly embarrassing. I tend to agree, John. I think if you gave Pulis 0-0 now, he'd be happy with that. And to be honest, if you're a Norwich fan, loads of Norwich fans have spoken to me, just got to win the 4 home games and they're up, basically. So even if they do, whatever they get away from home, as long as they win those home games, they are up. So it's a case of not panicking, because that gap could close right up. Jacob says, Borough played better against the top sides. Interesting, he's gone for a 0-0. That is likely. 0-0 is not the end of the world for Norwich. Let's talk a bit about Borough, though, because they're in the position that Norwich were in at the start of this season, where those parachute payments run out and it's squeaky bum time, and are you selling off your better players? So they've got to, really got to get it together, but it doesn't look like they're going to be favourites in playoffs here. Mr. Duke says, more worried about the home games. Norwich are better away. Norwich are the best away team in the league. Borough always looks shaky against teams that attack with pace. Loads of great comments. I'm going to back Norwich for the win. LUFC Dave says, if Norwich win, do you think it's time for Pulis out? I'm sure those Borough fans are not going to be happy, because you'd imagine one of these chasing teams are going to win. Borough could be out of the top 6 by the end of the weekend. So really interesting game, that one. Let's just hope Borough don't stink it out and play 5-4-1 like a few people have suggested here, and just play for the 0-0. But I'm predicting Norwich, that would be their 7th straight win. Could they clinch promotion with a sort of run of 10 wins on the trot? We will see. Jacob says, we won't be out of the playoffs. If you lose, you could be. You never know. Let's carry on to second place, Sheffield United. And Sheffield United, a couple of titanic wins their last 2 games. That 10-man win against Brentford, who had 27 attempts on goal. And then huge win away at Leeds. Sheffield United have now got themselves in front. Agree, Jacob, yeah. Luke says 2-0 to the Blades. Liam says Sheffield United, awesome team. They've got themselves here now. It's a case of not messing up. The name of the game, 3-1 Blades, 3-0 Blades. Best home record, says Adam. Lot of love for Sheffield United in these predictions here. The name of the game for the Blades, they've just got to better what Leeds do now for the rest of the season. Doesn't matter if Sheffield United win 3, lose 4 and draw 1. As long as that's one or as good as Leeds do, then they've got a point advantage. They can do it. They seem to be timing it to perfection. It is 7 clean sheets on the trot for the Blades. And I think the international break came at a good time for Sheffield United, because they were really draining. I think a few players were out on their feet at the end of those 2 games. I'm not going to try and second guess Chris Wilder, because he does something different every time. Well, I say that, I am going to try and second guess him, because it's a bit easier because Medin's suspended and there's a week until the next game. So I think you will see Sharp and McGoldrick in this one. I think you will see Dowell. I don't think there'll be any need for the Basham in midfield type thing. So I think you'll see Dowell in. I think Basham's back in defence, Sharp and McGoldrick. But 3-game week next week, you're going to see Medin back in that. Luke says, Blades haven't conceded in 7. If they don't concede on Saturday in Preston, looking for the lockout for the rest of the season. It's going to be twists and turns. Look, everyone's probably going to lose. The top 3 might all lose 1 game now, and they're definitely going to concede goals. So going to be interesting. Blades played before Norwich. They can close within a point. So they're going to want to dump the pressure on Norwich with the whole world watching on the TV after that. 3-2 says Jacob, expecting a high scoring one. Dowell has given us the position Duffy had. We needed that. Yeah, Duffy's not been used a lot since Dowell arrived at all. Good luxury to have there. Robins are on a streaky lead downturn here. 5 without defeat. I look back at the fixtures. They dropped to 9th, handed Villa the initiative. They did play Preston, Leeds and Norwich in that run, but they also couldn't beat either Ipswich or Birmingham in home games. Oliver says Bristol have fluffed it. If the teams above them push on now, then they have already, but you'd expect some dropped points. We'll talk about Ipswich at the end. Liam, should all be done though by the end of the season, I would have thought. I think you've got to go with Sheffield United in this one. It should be a cauldron there in Bramall Lane. Bristol City not on good form. You'd expect them just a barrage of centre-halves and wing-backs flying forward, and the Blades there. Caleb says 2-0 to the Blades. Can they keep another clean sheet? I think maybe they can. So looks like the top two. Well, I predicted Norwich to win, but looks like Sheffield United have the easier game than Norwich do. Although you say that, let's go on to Leeds because they're at home to Millwall. Leeds will hope that wasn't the killer blow delivered by the Blades, but like a few Blades fans in the feed are saying, it's in Sheffield United's hands now. But I'm sure there's some ludicrous 100-page plan up at Leeds for this last 8 games. No Casilla, but I believe Peacock Farrell played. LUFC Dave says 2-0 to Leeds. Janssen, I'm not sure. I don't know if Bielsa's announced the team yet, but he's going to be doubtful, probably a race. Jason says 3-0 Leeds. Kemar Roof apparently is going to be available in the 3-game week next week, so that will be a big bonus. Maybe the idea is he's going to go in behind Bamford for these remaining games. Still haven't seen a full Leeds team pretty much all season. I think maybe the first few weeks, and then just injuries since then. Millwall 1 point off the bottom, and only those two. Janssen is fit along with Roof and Forshaw's back. So yeah, strong squad here. Mo says Millwall fighting for their lives, though they scraped a win against Bolton. Leeds will be raring to go to make up for the last game, says Ian. Fast start against Millwall, they should fold early, says Knee Down. That I do agree with. The form for Millwall, those 2 away wins, and I was at the game against Derby, so I can tell you exactly what Millwall are going to try and do. Really low block, back 4 go narrow, wide 4 in midfield, and really going to try and counter. So whoever made the comment, if Leeds do have a Bielsa type start and release that turbo, then you think they're going to win this one. I think this is the easiest game that the top 3 have. Can Millwall get amongst Peacock Farrell from the long throws, second balls from Jake Cooper? It may all be done by then. Oh goodness, Matthew's gone for a 2-2 there. I'm going to go for Leeds, so quite boring. I think Norwich have got the hardest game, but I suspect, yes, Blades were loud enough, Jamie. I was in the Sheffield United end for that one. Thank you again, Blades. Lovely. One of them got me a ticket, and loads of them came up to talk to me in that away end there at Leeds. Really good day out. Really enjoyed that one. Check the video on the channel. But I've gone for all of the top 3 to win. How boring I am. Peacock Farrell isn't a bad keeper, just young. Yeah, agree with that. West Brom v Birmingham. I will be at this game tomorrow night, so look out for the review. Might be a bit late because it's an 8 o'clock kickoff, so look out for that one. And West Brom still don't have a manager. Presumably whoever they've spoken to has said, look, get this season out of the way. Probably quite a smart move, actually, because if they don't go up, it's not his fault. And if they do go up, he takes a Premier League team. Dave says 2-1 to West Brom. James Sean, according to the ever-reliable Mirror, will be in the job until the end of the season. If it was Alex Neil that they'd spoken to, then maybe he would say until the end of the season. I just can't see that happening. Jukanovic looks more likely to me, but whoever wants the job doesn't want this season and they want a pre-season, it would appear. Sean hasn't changed much, though he's won 2 games. Holgate in at right back has helped. Brunt in into centre midfield. The Blues have had an interesting week, haven't they? 9 points off for FFP, so it was for the spending, not the Christian Pedersen. Aggravated breach then for really going for it the next season. Lots of signings in, Hotter, Morrison, Stockdale on big wages as well. 50-50 where the Blues will fall. Well, we'll talk about that, Liam. Ian says 9 points was harsh, so it was 7, then 3 for the aggregated breach, and 1 back off to bring it to 9 points for helping with the inquiries and kind of holding their hands up and admitting they're wrong. At least we have a precedent now, and interesting times over the next week or so for Villa, for Sheffield Wednesday, for Derby. Dave says it should have been 12 points. That would have chucked them right into it. So Birmingham 41 points, 5 off relegation. And interestingly, there could be a right doomsday scenario. Next 3 games for Blues: West Brom, Leeds and Sheffield United. 4th, 3rd and 2nd. If they lose all of those, 3 games added onto the 4 on the chart. That could be 7. Could be 7 straight defeats, although Blues have proven themselves. No, I'm not saving my Ipswich stay up, JG. Neither of those 2 things are going to happen. Thankfully for the Blues, though, 4 of the last 5 against bottom 6 teams, and Birmingham have proven that they're, you know, a sort of at least 3rd quartile team, if not top half team. They will not get relegated. Surely they'll rally in those last few games, although it could be, the gap could get a bit closer over these next 3 games. Difficult one. I think they'll come out fighting Birmingham. West Brom can be a complete mess, or they can sweep you away. God knows. Let's sit on the fence and call a score and draw here. But I wouldn't be surprised with a West Brom fold. I wouldn't be surprised with a West Brom 3-0 win if their players click. You just don't know what to expect with the Baggies, other than they're pretty much guaranteed to be in the playoffs. So look at West Brom. I think they're now gone for 4th, actually. It's a massive gap. 9 points gap. Millwall to Bristol, shock of the weekend, says if Birmingham mess up, that would be sad. Yeah, playoff candidates. Birmingham draw, says Sanjo. Does Sean deserve the job, Ben? If he gets them up, he might do. But is that going to happen? I think the decision's already made by these Chinese guys in the background. So, although I never thought Solskjaer would get the Man United job, and he's been given that today. Villa, Blackburn, Villa in 6th. Villa are on a roll into the playoffs now. 4 wins on the trot. Grealish and McGinn back together into 16th position. Have they gone too early though, Villa? Is it possible to go too early? I wonder. So they've gone on to 57 points. You've still got Derby with a game in hand below them, but not in too good a form. And some interesting matchups left for Villa. So they're going to want to put 3 points on here against Blackburn. I think Mings has solidified them at the back. And Grealish makes such a difference to that team. Villa fans are going to see Abraham back into a goal streak, and they can prepare for the playoffs. Blackburn, oh dear, Blackburn are in beach territory. The Lincoln brothers for the West Brom job. Have you seen the way Lincoln play knee down? Not so pretty, although they did beat my team, Ipswich. Villa reportedly reached an agreement for Tuanzebe to return alone again next season. Liam, tell me, you're a Villa fan, is he going to be back from injury before the end of the season? Because Mings and Tuanzebe would be a good centre-half partnership there. Someone said 3-0 Villa in the feed, and then it disappeared. Yeah, Blackburn on the beach, 16th place, leaky at the back, 4 points in 9. We've got to go for a Villa win, really, in this one. Oh, back training Tuanzebe. Yeah, so could be... and that's an interesting one for whoever drops down to 3rd place. We've said over and over again, Norwich, Sheffield United, Leeds, best 3 teams in the division. But, you know, Villa in the playoffs isn't going to be that easy, is it? It could even get up to 5th, actually. Villa, we'll see. Reading versus Preston. Get your predictions in. Reading 21st versus Preston in 7th. Preston on fire, have been for a long time. Hot on the heels of the top 6. We fought Bristol City and Derby. Had it all stitched up here, but both of them dropped off and let Villa in. Preston, Mo says Preston to win 3-0. Matthew says 2-1 to Preston. Injury crisis has let up. Caleb says Preston win. Only really Bodin and Harrop, the long-term guys. Callum Robinson back in. Should start making an impact soon enough. I think you might see him off the bench the next few games. 8 wins and 4 draws in the last 12 for Preston. Absolutely superb form. Can they keep it up? They have hard games though in that 3-game week. I know Sheffield United go there and Leeds go there. Both those games at Preston, I can't quite remember, but certainly some difficult ones. Preston to win 1-0. Villa and Derby playoffs, says Caleb. Lots of tweets from Reading's doctor. about Mr. Nelson Oliveira defying physics and science and biology, it would be, not physics, to get back early from injury. Don't know whether he's going to be in the squad, on the bench, whatever for this one, but they do appear to be rushing him back. Wouldn't want to rush him back too soon and risk further injury. Oliveira does make a difference. And also apparently Reading have an option to sign him up. Oliver says 2-1. Preston, Reading are 1 point above Rotherham. They're trading off those 2 late wins. For those of you who like stats, the stats say Reading were very lucky against Wigan and against Ipswich. The big chances going against them, and some good finishing late on in those games, giving Reading the wins. Is that viable over these remaining games? Can they stay out of it? For some reason, and I just have a hunch on this one, I think this is a low-scoring draw. I can just see Reading getting something out of this and Preston focusing on that home form. Don't know why, just got a hunch on this one. Prepared to be wrong, as always, and am most of the time. Derby in 8th versus Rotherham. International break came at a good time for Derby, didn't it? They'd been on a bad run, dropped down to 8th, and then Mason Mount's back in training, Bryson and Bennett back. I said they were missing a bit of, a bit of movement and a bit of pizzazz in the middle of the pitch. They looked really leggy. Lampard looked like he's running out of ideas a bit. So the 2-week gap, good for them. 1 win in the last 8 in all competitions, and they've surrendered that playoff spot. We'll see Lampard's biggest test. Red Dog says 3-0 Derby. I think Rotherham might be a bit tougher test than that. Rotherham one lost in those last 4 games. And I believe the defeats actually, Norwich and Sheffield United. So they're losing to the good teams, Rotherham, but they're so competitive. And I think for all of us who want a challenge at the bottom, it'd be nice to see Rotherham. Liam says 2-0 Rotherham. Oliver says 1-0 to Rotherham. Rotherham will make it very, very hard. Whether I think the draw's the best they can hope for away at Derby, who are going to have lots and lots of possession. But we know, we said it a million times, Rotherham stand off in the final third, press the hell out of them in the middle third, win free kicks and throw-ins, everything into the box, and Semi Ajayi in ridiculous form. Ian says Rotherham to win. Interesting. Derby, if on form, they need to get some way back to where they were. There was a run Derby had before Christmas where they were absolutely brilliant. Really think they had clicked. I think, sorry Rotherham fans, I think let's go for a tight Derby win. Moving on, Stoke are in on the beach territory. They are at home to Sheffield Wednesday. Stoke in 15th, Wednesday in 10th. Wednesday will still think they can make this kamikaze run into the playoffs and somehow beat Sheffield United. That's what their fans seem to be playing for, the narrative they want to the end of the season. Stoke obviously are very, very, very draw happy. I'm looking at the last 6, 5 in the last 6, all draws. Very good defensively though, actually. Remember Butland in goal. This game could absolutely stink, Nathan Jones versus Steve Bruce. Bruce, I credit him for being a really good tweaker. Ian says no chance for Wednesday. Certainly in good form, but not the most attacking side. Wednesday fans are deluded, says Mo. His words, not mine. We'll see how they keep progressing. We'll come on to the playoffs in a bit. Jacob, I've done a whole video on that you can check out in the channel, watched by loads and loads of people. Butland has to go in the summer, surely, says JG. You would think as these, but although you're going to get another 35 million parachute, so maybe they give Jones back in for 1 season before the complete fire sale. We will see. Remember, Bet65, 365 as well. Ungodly amount of money, but we know you're going to get a 9-point deduction if you break your FFP. Remember those Stoke as well. 35 million loss they can report rather than a 13th because of those Premier League years. So again, can't press home enough these huge financial advantages these teams that have been in the Premier League in the last 5 or 6 years have over everybody else that hasn't. I've got to go for a very stereotyped 0-0 here. Bruce versus Jones, and Wednesday to concentrate on winning their home games. Let's move on. Forest in 11th versus Swansea in 14th. Didn't see Forest at Ipswich because I went to Sheffield United. Leeds instead. Butland to Norwich. Well, if they've got Premier League money, Jason, maybe they'd go for the bid. You think that would break Mr. Stuart Webber's kind of model for signings, but yeah, that's the sort of place he'll get linked with that new TV money if Norwich do go up. Where was I? Forest versus Swansea. Forest in 11th. Brilliant season ticket sales for Forest. Definitely got that big club kind of feel about them in terms of their attendances. And we know that new Peter Taylor stand is going to be built, and you're going to be seeing over 30,000 a lot of the time at Forest. Sanjo says Forest to win that one. 1-0. Swansea look a bit powder puff. 2-1 Forest. I saw Swansea at Norwich and they kind of huffed and puffed but didn't really lay a glove on them. I think Forest are good at home and probably should have enough intensity. I think Forest are going to stay in the playoff race until the last few games. They just really need to sort out that away form, Forest. Anyway, I know I'm going long, so we will move on, and I'm going to back Forest for a home win. Have I had no away wins in this predictions? I haven't at all. Let's see. Oh, God, and the next game is Ipswich versus Hull. So complete dead rubber here, Ipswich versus Hull. Ipswich already down, kind of planning for next season, as someone said. A contract offer in for Alan Judge, although reading between the lines there, well, may only last until January, but we'll see what happens with Judge. Ipswich 0, Hull 4. Don't see it panning that way, Billy, but we shall see. Hull should be on the beach there in 12th. There, Ipswich are drawing. I think the best we can hope for here, from an Ipswich point of view, is probably a draw, given Hull have got that quality with Bowen and Grzycki and Campbell. Nick says 3-1. Ipswich, be nice to see Ipswich keep a clean sheet at home because they have been scoring. Let's see, Curtis says 2-1 Ipswich. I would be overjoyed with an Ipswich win, but maybe that might come away at Bolton next week. So I'm going to go for another boring Ipswich draw in this dead rubber. 2 more to go. QPR in 17th versus Bolton in 23rd. QPR haven't been in good form for a long while now, although funnily enough, Birmingham's 9-point deduction gives them another team below them. They're safe, QPR, so they'll be on the beach soon enough. Billy says 1-0 Bolton. You know how Bolton are going to try and play this. Nice and tight, nice and gnarly. But I think QPR, they play in these little spurts. I think they're definitely going to score against Bolton, so it depends how they defend against the corners and Beavers and Wheater coming up for these set plays. Bolton had that win a few games ago. Where was that? It was at Birmingham, wasn't it? They haven't followed it up. It's been 2 straight defeats and so much off the field stuff. Looks like they're preparing for League One. Also, let's go for a QPR win, just to annoy Nick, the Brentford fan, in the feed here. We've already talked about Birmingham, Scott. Yes, 3 horrible games, but then 4 of the bottom 6. Birmingham, I think, are a level above those bottom 6 games. I think they'll pick up, a decent haul over those last games. And remember, these teams at the bottom are not good. Liam says you can see QPR dragged in. I think it's between those bottom 6. Speaking of which, here comes the last one. Wigan versus Brentford. Wigan have got that little gap. Wigan are good at home. Yes, William, we do the top teams first, so spool back in the feed to see about Sheffield United. Billy says Wigan 0, Brentford 2. Ben Rama's now getting his act together, ready for his presumably his summer transfer away. I don't know who... Brentford, no problem, Will. Brentford, they have to sell to make ends meet. The Brentford model is they do pay good wages to get these guys in, but you do need to sell Mepham, Woods, you name them. I think they're the last 2 to kind of leave Brentford, maybe Sawyer's next. But I would expect both teams to score in this one. Maybe we'll go for a scoring draw. I think that is all the predictions. We're coming up half an hour. So I'll just go to the questions. Brentford 2-0 says Nick will go with him because he's a Brentford fan and he knows more about Brentford than I do. Now I'll stick my prediction. A scoring draw there. Wigan good at home. So always put the shout out. If you hit subscribe, you'll see the question feed come up. Neil says, hi Ben, how did Norwich, Leeds and Blaze result match up after previous international breaks? I don't know, Neil. Should have researched that. Any Norwich or Leeds or Blaze fans in the feed, let me know how you come back after international breaks. I just think now there's so much pressure. It's just going to be win, win, win. Thank you, Will. Yeah, national commentary does focus on the Premier League. So, and we're still looking to find someone. I've done 60 plus Championship games who's done more. Lots of Blaze players away on international duty. Interesting. Yeah, a few Irish guys there. Daryl asks, thinking Leeds will slip up against Millwall tomorrow. That coupled with a narrow win for the Blades. If that's the case, you think Blaze will be sorted? I don't think anyone's sorted until maybe after this 3-game week. You know what can happen in a 3-game week. What happens if one of the top 3 scores 7 points and the other scores 1 in a 3-game week? That may well be unassailable. Can I make, Caleb asked, prediction for the top 6 at the start? Well, it's the end of the video now, so no, I can't. But what I would say, Caleb, is check out my top 6 video. I don't want to sound like I'm sitting on the fence, but we're going to get new information every week. And you cannot underestimate 2 periods now, 3-game week next week, and Easter, where you play the Friday and the Monday. Those are very, very big. Exactly. William says, mental end of the season going to be very tense at the time. Right, any questions in the feed? I will answer them. I think Nick said, can Norwich blow it? Well, of course they can blow it, but they're not going to, are they? 8 games to go. 4 wins will do it for Norwich. And as I've said, continually create way more goal-scoring chances than every team they play against. Scouting for Games asked, do I get media passes? No, I just buy tickets like any other fan. But if anyone's got any media connections, save me some money, that would be nice. Would you keep Lambert for next season? Absolutely. Joshua asks, are the Blades going up? Possibly. So difficult to tell. Nick says, am I going to Brentford Ipswich? Yes, I will be there April the 10th. You can buy me a drink there. Young player of the season says Dara. God, I'm not getting into Max Aarons versus Reece James anymore after my team of the season. One of those two, and I'll let you decide. Just remember, whoever you support, there are 23 other teams in the league, and I may have seen a more even match than fans who've just seen one team. Do I think Villa will get playoffs even with other teams' games in hand? Yes, I do think Villa are going to get playoffs, and they may, thanks Nick, they may even finish 5th if Borough do continue to just nod off a little bit. I think Villa might be the tricky one. I still make whoever drops out of Sheffield United and Leeds strong favourites in the playoffs. And do not buy the myth, I'm peddling it on this channel, 7 out of the last 13 seasons, 3rd place wins the playoffs. The playoffs work for 3rd place. I promise you, not sure which are going to be Brentford, but always a fun day out at Brentford. All the pubs around there, nice friendly atmosphere. You get to see Ben Rama, you get to see a load of lovely passing. Scouting for Games asks, thoughts on Villa's 5 goalkeepers? Have they found a solution? So it's Jed Steer at the moment. I think Kalinic will come back in, but it often takes 2 seasons for foreign players. About to go on holiday, missing the Swansea game for us. Sheffield United, is Grealish going in the summer? Yes, he will if Villa do not go up. How they're going to massage these figures. Norwich needed Maddison to fill that shortfall. I don't know, unless Villa have the world's best accountants, how they can massage this without selling Grealish. I know he won't want to go, but you're going to get, what did Norwich get for Maddison? 25 million. So that would be the ballpark for an English player of that age. Sanjo, Ben, in future, can you preview League 1 and 2? I'm sorry, Sanjo, I can't. I don't know enough about them, and I try and pride myself. KB, have I ever done mushrooms? DM me, KB. and I'll answer that one. Ipswich to win League One, says Dara. That would be amazing. It'd be nice for us to do something good. We now know, looking at the figures, that if Ipswich pay 8 to 10 grand a week to 4 or 5 players, they would be favourites, but they've really got to sort this up. If Blades go up, will Sharp play in the Premier League? I'd love to see Sharp get a go in the Premier League. One of my favourite people to watch. Matt, I'm not at the Ipswich game this weekend. I am working a wedding for an Ipswich fan. I'm at the West Brom game tomorrow night. I'm at no game on Saturday, I'm afraid. Matt, I've got to make a living, mate, and weddings pay that good money, and I promised this guy, so no Ipswich game. Next season, you have a chance with League One, says Nick. Yeah, sorry, St. Joe. But yeah, can't do League One as well. I need to just get the focus in. I'm not bored of Ipswich at all. Honestly, I will be at Bolton. Then I will be in the midweek game. Where am I? Brentford. So I'll be at the next 2 Ipswich games. What's my day job? I teach in a school of badly behaved people. Actually, yes, I try and balance all this. I do still do gigs, but mainly piano and vocal ones on a Sunday, if I can get away with it. I'm having too much fun doing this and building up such a good subscriber base that we're keeping on with this. Right, if that is the end of the questions, I will say follow me on Twitter. He was going to guest teacher. It's the shirt, isn't it? But no, my headmaster's brilliant, and it allows me to finish off at 3 o'clock. I think you should become a Norwich supporter. You don't choose, do you? Hey, you can't choose. I'm an Ipswich fan. Hey, do you do previews every weekend? Yeah, we'll do previews every week. And nice one, Ben. I'm ready for tomorrow. Thanks, John. Become a Leeds fan, Ben. Look, I love Leeds. They're great, aren't they? I love going to watch Leeds. Always very welcome. I must admit that if you do produce balanced content on here and do your research and know the team's good players and bad players and how they play, then, you know, Millwall fans great, Norwich fans great, except when I left Max Aaron's out of my team of the year. Leeds fans great. Favourite Championship team other than Ipswich? My God. Sheffield United possibly. No parachute money, 352. Thanks, George, for subscribing. Do people know you at school from YouTube? No, that is very much against the rules. A Championship Oracle. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, guys. Yeah, love following the Championship and so much good stuff. We've done Villa, Blackburn, Aston, Jaguar, Bucks, Iron, 4 different names, and they're spooled back in the feed there. Right, follow me on Twitter at Benjamin Bloom. Check out tomorrow night, West Brom, Birmingham. I'll be at that game. No game on Sunday. Don't know whether I'll do the review on Monday night or Sunday. We'll see, possibly Monday night, but we'll let everybody know in the feed. And if I can find anyone, I might do a special if I have the time tomorrow. Always looking for ideas for videos, so do get in contact on Twitter at Benjamin Bloom. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We've done 38 minutes. This only goes so well, and people only call me an oracle because of all the people in the feed who watch their team every week when I can't and give me the information. Fire sale summer, yeah. Opinions on wilderness. Chris Wilder, I think maybe. Right, I'm going to shoot off now. If you want my opinion on Chris Wilder, watch my Sheffield United special on the channel with Blades Pod. I'd love to go to the Checker Trade final. Sold out. Right, thank you, everybody. See you soon.